Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring another little set of action movie reviews. We're going to be talking about Dead Trigger starring Dolph Lundgren from 2017, which just got sort of another fairly big release now for itself, along with Derailed from Jean-Claude Van Damme, which came out in 2002, along with No Surrender, an Egyptian production, sort of starring Scott Adkins. Yeah, first up we're going to be talking about Dead Trigger, starring Dolph Lundgren. Of course, Van Damme is my favorite, but I'm telling you, a lot of times Lundgren can be hot on his heels at the very least, and yes, Adkins is right around that as well. But I was looking forward to Dead Trigger a fair amount. Like I said, it was actually 2017 film really, but it just sort of went and got this other release with 2019 now, and I was eager for it because I didn't even mind a film like Battle of the Damned. It was silly. It kind of felt like a sci-fi original movie, but Dolph Lundgren maintained his usual badassery, and there's actually some decent zombie action for what it was, and given the budget they had. Of course, the thing with the robots and that got kind of silly, but I still see it, and then I think, oh, Dolph Lundgren, zombie apocalypse, this should be pretty damn awesome. And of course, also because I'm a major horror fan, horror is actually my favorite genre. I've been doing a lot of action movie reviews lately over the past few months, which is something as well. But when it comes down to specific genres, it still is horror for me. So kind of crossing those two and having something like Dead Trigger, I was pretty eager for. And now I do gotta show you guys this alternate cover on one of the other. I forget if it's a UK copy or something like that. But yeah, this is definitely a better cover for it. It shows off its color, kind of coloring a little bit better. It's not that dreary of a film, especially in the main parts of it. It's besides the nighttime scene, which kind of goes into the first quarter of the movie. It's a little bit brighter of a film than that, I guess. And I actually ended up enjoying it. Now, before we talk more about it, IMDb says, a mysterious virus has killed billions and turned many others into bloodthirsty zombies. Unable to stop the virus, the government develops a video game, Dead Trigger, that mirrors the terrifying events that curse the world. But yeah, I actually ended up enjoying it. It was based off a video game, and I guess the creators of that game were involved with that first when they disputed over script differences, I guess. Eventually they kind of abandoned it, but I guess I still enjoyed what we got. I mean, it's not the most elaborately done film or anything, and again, it feels like a movie that could perhaps be on something like the Sci-Fi Channel. But I actually did find it superior to Battle of the Damned as well. Somehow I felt like it had a more cohesive, entertaining story for me. Dead Trigger actually refers to them having to recruit teenagers into this fight, but they're not expected to survive. They're the first unit expected to die, but they try to train them anyway. And with that part of the film early on, it actually adds a little bit of humor to it, which I quite liked. There's a couple surprise deaths in the movie, I guess. Isaiah Washington is also in this. He was on a show early, called 100. It was good seeing him a little bit. And they do add a little bit of depth to Dolph Lundgren's character that they play with a little bit near the end of the movie. I would have liked more of that, but given the movie it is, I wasn't even expecting that. Dolph even gets involved in a couple of fight scenes, which I liked as well. They're not the most well done from them you're gonna see, but it still made my heart happy. And this movie is getting just trashed. I mean, it has like a 3.9 IMDb. I think the user reviews aren't very good or anything like that. The Action Elite, which I'm a part of, on Facebook and everything, they didn't care for it either. I guess I don't really get the issue with this. I mean, I thought it was a fine one for what I was going for. And I actually enjoyed going around with it. Now the video game plot, the little dynamic with that, I don't want to spoil it if you still got to watch it, was a little weird to me. It felt a little bit out of place at times. I didn't really like that aspect or that element to it. But luckily it doesn't really take up much of the movie. So yeah, overall I'm actually giving this a solid rating. I'm giving it like a 82-85%, somewhere in there. Maybe I'm too easy to please, I don't know. I just know I enjoyed myself. Maybe I'm just used to seeing, sort of B horror movies alongside my B action movies. I'm not sure. It could be part of it. But I thought Dolph was good here. It's different seeing with the dark hair and, slightly different sort of, facial hair than he usually goes for. And the scarf as well. So yeah, I actually like Dead Trigger. I'm glad I picked it up. My girlfriend actually works at a video rental store. Yeah, some of those do still exist. A Family Video, actually, and she had bought this for me as soon as she seen some of them were for sale. So yeah, it's always nice. And now we're going to be talking about Derailed from 2002, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, and directed by Bob Murawski. I probably butchered the name, I know I did. And according to IMDb, an out-of-control train holding hostages and high-tech bioweapons, Agent Christophe Van Damme becomes a one-man army to derail a terrorist and save the lives of everyone on board. But yeah, basically he has to take on another client, and it turns out to lead into this operation here. Little does he know, his family sneaks on, so his wife and kids are on the train as well. And, a little subplot here is that his wife's sort of paranoid that he's been cheating on her, and, because of the kind of work he does and things like that. So that doesn't help when, this woman, played by Laura Herring, she comes out of the shower, she's his client. She tries to seduce him a little, it doesn't work, but still comes across poorly to his wife. So that dynamic there I thought could have been delved into a little bit more, but it's good sort of uncertainty type of thing to have, amidst all the chaos and stuff like that, I guess. Gives a more grounded element to what could otherwise be, just sort of schlock, I guess. And I liked it. I mean, it's definitely on the lower end of the totem pole for a Van Damme movie. This is one I was encouraged by my brother to rewatch, because I did see it back in the day, whatever that means, right? Just years and years ago before, he had moved to the other end of the country, or the bottom anyway. And so I did for his sake. I knew it was one I wanted to go over again. And it wasn't too bad. I mean, there are some pretty poor shots of the train. It's either CG, they're going for this background with when Van Damme's on his motorcycle, or when he's just sort of crawling over the top of it and such. It doesn't look very good. It looks like there's just this screen sort of moving back and forth, and that's what it probably was. It didn't have a big budget either. Is it my least favorite Van Damme movie? I don't know. I don't think I can quite say that. My other two, which I may review at some later date. No. My two bottom Van Damme movies are both Double Team and honestly, personally, Maximum Risk, and for some reason I'd still put this one over those two, because I still do feel more of an entertainment value with this one. It's very straightforward. It's more straightforward than those two, I suppose. But I don't know, I guess I just enjoyed the premise, Van Damme versus terrorist on a train, it was fine. And then you have our villain here, Thomas Arana. He made for a slightly imposing bad guy, I suppose, although I didn't really feel like he left much of a mark by the end. I did like Laura Herring as the client. She sort of toes the line between, potential ally or heroine to villainous. And then you have Susan Gibney as his wife, Madeline, who I actually thought was pretty good. And then you even have Chris Van Damme, one of his sons, actually playing his son in this movie, which is nice when he was a younger kid. He's popped up in a bunch of other of his father's movies since. So yeah, if I had to rate Derailed, it's not really one of my favorites. I don't think it's definitely not one of the best he's ever done, but I think it's passable. I mean, I think you can sort of go along with it as you're going through all the others. And if I had to rate it, I think I'm giving it around like a 75%, somewhere right around there. So yeah, what you guys thought about that. And finally, we're going to be talking about No Surrender. Again, I hesitate to say starring Scott Adkins because it is an Egyptian production, but with its release in the US, they did put Adkins very prominently on the cover. But he has very little screen time in this. He has a scene at the beginning, another quick passing scene in the middle, then he's sort of released in the last 10-ish minutes, or like the main climax of the film, where he does admittedly have a decent sort of fight and battle sequence, I guess, that gets involved in. And again, according to IMDb, premises: an Egyptian police officer named General Yusuf al-Nasri lives in Karamanus, I can't pronounce a lot of this, but neighborhood in Alexandria. The film dates back to the reign of King Farouk before the 1952 revolution. Okay. That doesn't have to do with the plot. But yeah, basically these guys, they help this woman at the beginning of the film, and this, sort of prominent son of a corrupt force, the military and police, is arrested, and the captain in charge that refuses to release him, so a bunch of men courtesy of his father come to try and bust him out. So it's basically the captain defending the prison against again, these corrupt army guys trying to bail the guy out. It was alright. I was hoping it was going to be subtitles actually, but mine turned out to be dubbed. Which was fine. I mean, I grew up watching all the Godzilla, the Japanese Godzilla dubs, so I'm not, fully, taken aback by it or anything, but it was alright in terms of the dubs. I do think our actual main character, Amir Carrera, was actually pretty decent. He seemed to be a competent actor, like a few others seem to be, but the dubs kind of screw that up a little. Again, he is the main character. Scott Adkins really is, and he's sort of like this flashy, cameo near the climax of the film, really sort of teased a little bit throughout, but whenever he's not on screen, he's not really mentioned either. So it's kind of odd. But at least it wasn't completely a wasted role for Scott, because he does show off his, what makes him so impressive, and it is definitely the highlight of the film. Now, he is a bad guy in this. He's basically used by the corrupt army force, as a way to get through to the prison, and he takes out a shit ton of guys, and then he gets to fight our actual protagonist, and all of a sudden, it doesn't go so well. So it's a little frustrating when you know how good Scott Adkins is, and you see how good and deadly his character is, but then somehow our protagonist, who clearly isn't as good of a fighter, gets in these really, kind of random shots, and all of a sudden he really affects Scott Adkins, crazy one character, even though we just seen Scott Adkins go through like a couple dozen guys or something in various ways. So you kind of gotta swallow it, but if you're a fan, you're definitely calling bullshit by the end of it. And I know I kind of swallowed it, but I'm basically just telling you guys what you're getting into there. I'd honestly say just look up his scene on YouTube. I don't know if you can really find that, though. And if you're really a really big fan of Scott Adkins like I am, it isn't the worst thing in the world to own. It's another movie that was at a video rental store, so we did get it. It's worth watching for that scene, I guess, but besides that, you could probably take it or leave it. I'm not really sure how to rate this because I feel like I watched it not for what the movie really is, you know. I watched it for Scott Adkins, but other movies more like a tense sort of political war drama, you know, type of scenario, I guess. Thrillers kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, the effects aren't bad. The environment, you know, the sets look pretty good. It's not a terribly done movie, I guess. But I didn't really get much out of it. And if Scott Adkins wasn't in it, I probably wouldn't have given him another look. I don't know, I'm giving like a 67, 72%, somewhere in there, I'm not sure. But yeah, those are what I have to say about those films, letting you guys a lot about each of them if you've seen them. And yeah, I got a couple other promising movies to go into my next set of action QMRs. I'm going to be talking about Under Siege, as well as another Steven Seagal one. We got some less than savory thoughts on that, but also a very good Van Damme film I just watched called Until Death. Very eager to talk about that one. Along with another movie or two a little bit later on in the week, or maybe next week, we'll see. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick video, sort of. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.